I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, we're going to be talking about marketing, and specifically what you should do when you feel like you've done everything to market your business and it's still not being successful. Sometimes it's very difficult for us to look at our own work with a critical eye and think that there's something wrong with it. The tendency is for us to blame everybody else. Well, I've run ads. I have done everything that people suggest to build my sales. It must be those other people. Or we think that the advice we've been given just doesn't work. So here's what you need to do if you feel like you have honestly done every possible thing you can do to build your business and you're still not getting the sales results that you want. And I had this conversation, unfortunately, with a lot of different people. The first thing I want to know is population of the area that you live in and the population of the area that you tend to vend in. The reason I want to know that is there a big enough pool of people to come try your food, and then hopefully you turn them into loyal guests. So somebody that lives in a small town of 200 people has got to market completely different than somebody that lives in a metropolitan area of millions. There is a difference, because you can market for 24 hours a day and not hit the full population in a big metropolitan area. There will still be people that come up to you and say, I didn't even know you was here. Whereas when you're in a small town, if you market 24 hours, people are going to say, hey, stop, we know you're here. So does the area that you vend in have enough people to support your business? And that's a critical question that should have been asked long before you started. But you've already started, so how do you capitalize on whatever your population is? Now, if you listen to my podcast, you know the very first thing I tell people to do when they're worried about marketing is to look internally first before we start marketing externally. And what that means is you got to look at your food, you got to look at your service, you got to look at your cleanliness, and then you got to take a critical eye and look all around your food truck. Is it appealing? Or does it turn people off before they ever walk up? And if you can't tell or you're not sure, ask people. Even your friends can give you good advice if you frame the question correctly. Because see, our brains are trained to answer questions. That's what we do. We answer questions all the time. Why do we answer questions all the time? Because it's instinctual. That's why our brains have been trained to do it. We look at a situation, we assess that situation, and we look to either avoid pain or go towards pleasure, and that's just instinctual. If you're the caveman millions of years ago or hundreds of thousands of years ago, and you're looking at a situation where there's a big animal with big ferocious fangs and you don't have any kind of weapons, you might want to turn and run. Your brain is looking at that situation, assessing it, and giving you advice, telling you what to do. Now, we know some people can be given great advice and will ignore it. That's what our brains do. So when your friends are asked a question, they're going to very rapidly in succession, what does my friend want to know? Because I don't want to hurt his feelings. And then how can I answer the question? Because, again, we've been posed a question, the brain has to answer it without hurting my friend's feelings. So when you say, hey, what do you think of my food truck? They're going to say positive things. What do you think of the wrap? Well, yeah, I like it. And they may list off a couple things that they personally don't care about, but they're not helping you. They're trying to dumb down their answer so they don't hurt your feelings because, hey, we're friends. So what you want to do is ask the question in a way that will make them answer it honestly. And what you're going to say, ask your friends to look at the wrap, ask them, is there anything about the way that I'm set up, the location I'm in, the ground surrounding me, the wrap, the look of the trailer that would make anybody not want to come here? Now they've been relieved of the pressure of trying to answer it and not hurt their friends' feelings because you're asking them to pretend like there's someone else. Is there anything here that would make anybody not want to come? And then do the same types of questions for your food. Hey, I know you love this, but is there anything about the flavor of the presentation that would make other people not want to eat this? So now you're asking them to pretend like there's someone else. They do this with AI when you do AI prompting. They'll begin the prompt with, act as an executive in marketing for the last 25 years, and you have experience in XYZ. So they're telling the AI what to act like. So you're giving your friends the same permission. You're giving a human being who has human being experiences, act like you're somebody else. So that way you don't have to worry about hurting my feelings. What do you see about my food, my service, my friendliness, my setup, the cleanliness inside here that would make you not want to eat here as a guest? And you'll be surprised what kind of answers you'll get. Maybe some things you didn't even think about. So ask people that you know and trust. And then just to verify what you've been told, if you're sitting out at a situation where there's people passing by and they're not stopping at least to read your menu, have some food in your hand, have a sample and say, hey, here's some of my food. I would love for you to sample my food and then just tell me why you didn't stop here to begin with. Now, some of them are going to say, I'm not hungry, and that could be very, very true. But if you're in an event that's full of food trucks and they're walking down the food trucks, more than likely they're hungry, unless it's a shortcut to get somewhere else. So, hey, what about this made you not choose me? Here's some food. Here's a little bribe. Now, please tell me why you didn't stop. You got to get that information. Again, you got to look internally. What am I not doing right? Look at your own social media. Ask your friends to scroll through the social media with you and look at things like the presentation of the plates. And sometimes it's hard for me because I'm looking at the food that's on the plate because we're super proud of our food. And sometimes the composition of the photographs just aren't appealing, even though the food elements are perfect. They look perfectly cooked. They got the right look and they look appetizing, but the composition of the pictures just blah. Nobody cares. You want to look at color composition. You want to look at how the thing is laid out on the plate. Sometimes it makes more sense to present your food on a plate, even a paper plate, than it does to put it in one of the single color styrofoam boxes, whether it's a black one or a white one, because that takes up the picture. There's a lot of white in there, a lot of negative space. Negative space has to be used to your advantage. But when you put it inside of a white styrofoam box, now you can't really control where your food's laying out because you put something in the big compartment and the two little things in the smaller compartments. So now it's just like every other picture out there in a white styrofoam box or a white styrofoam clamshell. So think about what the pictures look like. Put some color in there. Look for pops of green. How can we add a little bit of green? Cut up spring onions or green onions, whatever you call them, or chives. All of them essentially the same thing. Add a little bit of pop of color and a little tiny bit of flavor. You can sprinkle paprika on things. So now you got some red in there where it makes sense to add paprika. The idea is to make your food look amazing because, again, when you advertise, they can't smell it and they can't taste it. All they can do is look at it. So the food has to look amazing. So look through your social media with that critical eye. Then look at the social media and is it all just about your food? Is it all just about your location? Because now you're boring. Yes, you sell food and yes, you got to let people know where you're located. But there needs to be sprinklings of other types of content within your feed, within your specific timeline to let people know that, hey, well, I'm a human being. I have kids, I've got dogs, I got pets, I got something that they can relate to that has nothing to do with the food. So now they want to follow your post because it's not, hey, here I'm open, come spend money. It's, hey, I'm a human being just like you. Here's some of the things that I like to eat on my off day that have nothing to do with the food that I sell right now. And you might get enough comments on that particular recipe that they go, hey, you might want to add that to your food truck. Now you got a new product. But the idea is you cannot be boring. If your feed is nothing but, here's my food, I'm going to be at 5th and Main tomorrow, people aren't going to react to that because it's not exciting. People react to things because it's grabbed their attention, or they just like it because they're your friend. Now, what you want to do, once you've looked internally and fixed those issues and got the food being very attractive on your feed, and then you've also got a mix of other content where you talk about yourself, you talk about your business, you talk about things in the community that have nothing to do with where you're going to be set up, and then of course the majority of your posts need to be about your food and where you're going to be set up. Once you've got those things under control, and it should only take you a couple of days at most to get those things fixed, now we got to talk about how do we get more people coming to your business. So now we got to talk about how do we take advantage of the people that are already coming to your business, because you got some people coming, maybe 10 a day, maybe 20 a day, whatever that number is, you're not happy with it and you want more. So every single one of those people that come up to your business, you want to ask them, please leave a review and make it easy on them. A little trick that I learned this week, and I have never thought about this, but hey, somebody smart told me about it. She said that what I do is I have a little QR code right beside my window, and again, I suggest that. And she said, as I'm taking the order and handing them their change, I tell them, hey, won't you snap that QR code with your phone, so that when you have tasted the food, all the information to leave a review is already in your phone. Because again, a QR code will open their browser and put in that link where they're supposed to go. And cell phones, when they open up, they'll have multiple tabs. So now you have a tab dedicated to you within their browser on their cell phone. So they may forget, but the next time they open up that browser, you're going to be the top one. Oh yeah, I need to leave them a review. So get in to snap that photo as you're handing that food out. Hey, right here's the QR code. Don't forget to leave us a review. Go ahead and snap it now so it will be in your phone. Nice little trick. Reminds people to leave reviews. Then you can add one more thing to it. Hey, if you guys leave us a review, the next time you come in, show me the review on your phone. I'm going to give you 10% discount, 15% discount, a free dessert, a free drink, whatever it is you want to give away. Do not be afraid of giving stuff away. The most successful places I know give away a lot of food because that encourages people to come back. They feel obligated. Hey, I've done something for you, and they're going to do something for me. It's an ethical bribe because both sides get something out of it. So ask for those reviews and then ask them for proof that they left the review and they get something for it. It works. If you decide to go the route of boosting a post or creating ads, let me tell you the downside of it. Very few people talk about this. Facebook is not real good, and neither is Instagram for that matter, about weeding out scammers. We know that. We see them all the time. There are obvious scams that are sponsored posts, and all that means is they paid money, and Facebook is putting this post in your timeline, that are scams. You got to buy something, and you will be taken off to Scammerland. They've got your credit card information, and they run your credit cards. You think, hey, I've got an order. And you never get the product because they're going to be long gone by the time that you realize that, hey, it's been 2 weeks. I don't have my product. Where is it? And they'll have created a new ad under a new name and running more ads to get more people to spend $20, $30, $40, $50. It happens. Facebook does not address this seriously enough, and it's their fault. It is their own fault. They depend too much on technology, and they have to constantly tweak technology to scan for those things, and then they don't handle them. A human being needs to be on the other side of every single sponsored post. And yes, there's millions and maybe even billions of them. If you're going to be serious about running a business, you got to be serious about the downside of running a business, and that's protecting the people that are a part of your business, the legitimate people. So in any case, when you go to boost a post or run an ad, and we're not going to talk about how to do all that, we're just going to talk about the downside of it. As soon as you run an ad, you are going to be swarmed over with scammers. The current scam right now is your Facebook post or your Facebook page or your business page, your profile is about ready to be deleted because you've broken some type of intellectual property or some other complaint against your page, your profile, your business page or your profile. What's interesting is what they've done is they've copied and pasted legitimate information from Facebook, and all they've done is change the link. They either use a link shortener or they'll make it look kind of like it came from Facebook, facebook.complaint.xyz, some odd way of doing it. And people just glance at it, oh, it's got Facebook in it, this must be real. And it's not. It takes you off into Scammerland where they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to tell you, for the low price of $49.99, we will take away the complaint against you. Just make sure you don't do it again. So it feels like you've been slapped on the hands and been issued a fine. Or they're going to ask for your login credentials so that they can show you what the problem is, and then they're going to take over your account. And we see this many, many times. For example, we just ran an ad for the NSFVA. That particular ad had a limit of $5 a day. And what Facebook does is when we reach that limit, they cut off the ad. They no longer show it until the next day. And then they'll again run that ad. what we see every time the ad goes out is we get 10 to 15, hey, you're going to lose your account because, and they all go off to different websites. And they're everyone not a real complaint. Everything that we do, both on my pages and on the NSFBA page, is original composition. We don't borrow anything from anybody. So there's no way that we're having copyright issues. And yep, the scammers just try to make us feel like, oh my God, we're going to lose this. Because number one, we spent money on Facebook. So they know that we are legitimate and that we have at least a little tiny bit of money. And they think that they might be able to scare us into paying them something or being able to scare us into taking over the account. So have two-factor authorization set up. Make sure that you have two-factor authorization set up on your cell phone through your telecom company so that you can't have your phone cloned, which can happen very easily, and then they can intercept the calls before you ever get them. And then what they do with that is they'll go in and change your emails and all those other things because we think our phones are secure. But you got to have that two-factor authorization set up at the telecom company so that when the scammer calls them up and gives them some whiny story about, oh, I just did something and I've locked myself out. Can you help me? And then they will whine and whine and whine until the agent goes, okay, shut up. Here we go. Give me your information. And they have just enough information about you, which would be your phone number and maybe even the email, that they want something sent that they can intercept through the phone they just cloned. Once they've got that, they got all your information, which would include Facebook. So you got to make sure that your telephone company, your cell phone company understands they have to communicate back to you. You will not just call them up randomly and say, I've forgotten everything. Please help me. Force them into having to verify a PIN number or whatever their process is to make that two-step. They cannot, on a single phone call, change your information. They have to verify it back. So the steps real quick again, look internally to make sure you're doing everything you possibly can, food-wise, service-wise, and just the cleanliness and the visual look of your food truck to entice people to come in. Then ask your friends for feedback, authentic feedback. Frame it in a way as they're acting like they're somebody else. Don't worry, you can't hurt my feelings. Act like you're some random stranger. What would make you not come here? What would make that random stranger not come here? If you're going to place ads, don't think that you're going to get a whole bunch of people looking at it because you'll get a few. For example, the ads that we've been running, it cuts off about 120 people, and then they stop running the ad for a while. So at 120 people, we're getting usually 5 to 10 scammers out of that 120 people. And there's probably more scammers seeing it. And they just are looking at it going, well, they're small time. We're not going to deal with them. So don't think that because you're boosting your Facebook posts or you're creating an ad that you're going to get a whole bunch of influx from it. You will eventually, but it won't happen overnight. So that's not a quick fix. The quick fixes are doing things right, posting more frequently and posting in more varied ways other than, hey, I'm open, hey, I'm closed, hey, this is my food for today. People want to be able to see different details. Try those things. Then if it still doesn't work, give me a call. There's links in the description. You guys can get in touch with me and we'll talk about how to create a plan that's going to market your business. But you got to start somewhere. You can't just cross your arms and go, oh, it'll get better eventually, because it will not. Whatever you're experiencing now, probably what you're going to be experiencing a month from now. You want to fix whatever is, it may not be wrong. It may just not be quite right, but you got to fix it. You got to take action. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything that we talk about helpful, please consider subscribing. And if you really love what we do, show some support. There's a link in the description to make that happen. Until next time, you guys have a profitable week.